So we have evolved over a period of time, right from the time when we were using this sort of a Boyle's F machine or a Boyle's basic machine. Then we came down to this present era where we are using an advanced airways workstations, and in between there were those machines which have few of the components of the basic Boyle's basic and few components of the advanced airway. So this is the evolution of anesthesia machines over a period of time that we have all seen through. So my question to the postgraduates first is, why do we need an anesthesia machine? What is the basis? Why? What is the reason why an anesthesia machine is required for administration of anesthesia? And the reason is because this machine is used to supply compressed and a measured volume of a gas to which we can add a measured concentration of an inhalation anesthetic vapor. We can deliver this vapor and the gas to the patient via the breathing system. We can scavenge the waste gas and also monitor the machine as well as the patient parameters. So these are the reasons why we require an anesthesia machine. And this is the basic outline of an anesthesia machine. We all know that the anesthesia machine is basically divided into three main components according to the pressure system. And they are the high pressure, the intermediate pressure, and the low pressure system. So the high pressure system starts from this end. It starts from the cylinders, it comes down to the Bourdon gauze, the pressure regulating, the pressure regulator. Up to this portion is everything is a high pressure system except the pipeline system. And beyond this, up to this point, that is the up to the flow meter assembly, is something which is the intermediate pressure system. Then the flow meters and up to the common gas outlet is the low pressure system. So this is the three main divisions of the anesthesia machine. The high pressure, from here to here, is the intermediate pressure system. From here to this is the low pressure system. And there are different parts which are there in these three pressure systems. So what are the things, what are the components of the high pressure, intermediate pressure, and the low pressure system? The high pressure system consists of the yoke assembly, hanger yoke assembly, the cylinder pressure indicators, and the pressure reducing devices. Intermediate pressure system consists of the master switch, the pipeline inlet, the pipeline pressure indicators, the pipings, the gas power outlet, oxygen pressure failure devices, oxygen flush valve, second stage reducing devices, and a flow control valves. While the low pressure system consists of flow indicators, unidirectional check valves, pressure relief devices, vaporizers, and the vaporizer mounting devices, and a common gas outlet. So this is the components of the different systems. So if we open up the bar over the common and very common anesthesia, Boyle's anesthesia machine, so this is something what we see. And if I go from this end, this is the hanger yoke assembly, this is the pressure gauze, and from here it comes down up to this pressure reducing valve. So this component consists of is a high pressure system. Beyond this, up to this is intermediate pressure system, and then the flow meters up to the common gas outlet is the low pressure system. So now when we are talking about the anesthesia workstation, my lecture will be a mixture of what is been there for the traditional machines as well as for the anesthesia machines, some common points. So when we are talking about the anesthesia workstations, a new thing which came up was the SPDD model. What do we mean by SPDD model? So SPDD model is constituted. S is how do the gases come into the anesthesia gas machine. P is how does the anesthesia gas machine prepares the gases before their delivery to the patient. D is how is the interaction of gases with the patient controlled and monitored. And another D is how are the gases disposed of. So for the S, the supply is by two modes, that is the pipeline and the cylinder modes. The P, what the gases, how are the mixes. So these are things which are there in this SPDD model. The P is for fail-safe mechanism, flow meters, oxygen flush, low oxygen pressure alarm, ventilator driving gas, proportionating system, second gas regulators, vaporizers, check valve, distill to vaporizer, and common gas outlet. The first D, the delivery is gas delivery, common gas outlet, and the breathing systems. The breathing circuits, CO2 absorption, ventilators, integral monitors, addition of positive and expiratory pressures, and means of humidification is in the first D. And the last D is disposal, that is the scavenging system, and which may be either a closed or an active or a passive scavenging system. So SPDD models basically was very same things, but in a different way that they have modified it into the anesthesia workstations. So coming down to the high pressure system, the first is the compressed gas cylinders. We all know about the compressed gas cylinders consist of three parts: the body, the neck, and the valve area. The cylinders are made of chrome molybdenum, aluminum, or they may be made from aluminum with Kevlar wrap. The sizes vary from A to G. Few definitions which we are supposed to know for the examination is: one is what is surface pressure and what is the filling density. So these are few things that we are supposed to know. Examiners do ask what is surface pressure and what is filling density. Cylinder valves are of two types. One is a flush valve and another is a bullnose valve. Flush valves are usually present in smaller cylinders from size A to E, while the bullnose valves are present in the larger cylinders in the size F to H. And these parts of the valves are, whether this is a flush valve or a bullnose valve, the parts consist of port, stem, handle, pressure relief devices, conical depression, pin index system, which is usually present in the smaller cylinders, valve outlet connections for larger cylinders. Other important thing that is usually asked is what is a pin index system and how do we make a pin index system. So from the center of the nipple, a small circle is drawn at the radius of 1 by 16 inch, and on that every 14 degrees to each other an angle is being cut, and because of these angles that it is named in a different shape. The center one comes down to 0, and right from here it is 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. So if the angles between the two points is 14 degrees, this is the radius which is there. And please remember, the pin index system is a part of the anesthesia machine and not a part of a cylinder. It is a part of an anesthesia machine. It is present in the hanger yoke assembly, and it helps in orienting or attachment of a proper cylinder at a proper place. Because these depressions, uh, uh, they these they get attached to a common um, outing, which is present, depressions which is present on the anesthesia uh, cylinder valve, and there it gets attached, and there are different names which is given to each. Pressure relief devices, this is if by accidentally the pressure in the small cylinder increases, so they help in the release of the excessive pressure to the atmosphere. They are consist of three things. One is a ruptured disc, a fusible plug, or a pressure relief valve, or it may be a combination of ruptured disc and a fusible plug. Testing of cylinders, we are supposed to know what are the different tests that the cylinders undergo and how frequently are these tests being done. And the test which the cylinders commonly undergo is the hydraulic test, the tensile test, the flattening test, the impact test, and the bend test. And the cylinders from a lot is one cylinder of the lot is taken up and they are checked every 10 years. Either in 5 years or 10 years, ideally they are checked in 10 years, and then these different tests are done for each cylinder to know the integrity, the structural integrity of the cylinder. Hanger yoke assembly, I have already talked. This is consists of two parts. One is the it provides the this is the This is the pin index system. This is the central nozzle over which there is a Borden gauze, and then there is a Cheval type gate to which the cylinder is attached. You are supposed to know how do you ensure that the cylinder that you have attached is of the right size, and secondly, it is oriented normally. So this is a question which I expect to get an answer at the end of this session in the chat box. Cylinder pressure regulators. Cylinder pressure regulators are also known as the Borden pressure gauge. And what is the principle on which this act? So there the principle is a constant volume, a different but a variable pressure. This is totally opposite to the principles on which the flow meters work. Here the volume is constant but the pressure varies, and because of that there is a movement of this pointer over the Android ring. They may, in the newer ones, a digital pressure readouts have come up. Pressure regulating valves. What are the reasons why there are pressure regulating valves present in the anesthesia machine? The reason behind is the pressures which is present in the cylinder is at a very high pressure. And this amount of pressure, if it is delivered to the patient, will cause a barotrauma. Secondly, this is to prevent damage to the flow control valves, tubings, and other parts of the cylinder apparatus. This is important because as the content of the cylinder goes down, the pressure may vary. So because of which there may be a variation in the pressures which may cause a lot of wear and tear in the part. And similarly, because of this, as the pressure goes down, you may have to continuously adjust the flow control valves to maintain the constant flow rate. So the pressure regulating valves have these three functions. It allows that a constant flow is being maintained. It prevents a high pressure to be delivered, and it prevents the fluctuations in the pressure as per the content of the cylinder. So because of that, a constant pressure can be delivered, and it also prevents the wear and tear of the apparatus. Pressure regulating valves, there are two types, the adjustable and the preset. Adjustables are no longer being used. What is now coming up is a preset valve where it is fixed up at where they are fixed in the university at the factory and should be kept constant and requires a tool to adjust a pressure. When we as end users don't fiddle with the preset, it has to be changed or it has to be regulated by the company people only, and they are preset at the universities. Coming down the intermediate pressure system in the older machines that I was talking about. So if those who have seen this sort of a machine, you can make out there may be a pipeline inlet which is not there in this. There is a pipeline pressure indicator which is not present in this. There is something which is a gas power outlet. This is a gas power outlet where initially it was used, where oxygen was used to power the ventilators. The next thing is oxygen pressure failure devices. Oxygen pressure failure devices was something which was present here and which was known as a master-slave mechanism. Third was the oxygen flush, which is here. This is the oxygen flush, which is there. This is the Ritchie whistle, which is there, which tells us that the oxygen pressure is following. And then these are the flow control valves. Coming to gas pipeline, few things that is very important is you are supposed to know what is a shredder probe, what is flexible tubing, and what is NIST or DIS. The shredder probes are something which are present in the wall mounts. On the wall mounts, the thing which is present is a shredder probe. Then there is a flexible tubing which is color coded for different gases. And then this is the DIS or NIST. Here what you can see is the depressions and followed by these O-rings, and they are different for different gases. So they fit it into the anesthesia machine into their slots, which is very peculiar for each machine. And only when they fit in, when these O-rings fit in, are we able to screw up these probes, these nuts. And because they are all coded, they are different for different gases. That is why it is not possible to connect nitrous for oxygen or oxygen for nitrous or air. So this is DIS or NIST. This is another part which is very important in almost all the workstations that we are having, is we are getting supply from the oxygen from the pipelines, and this is what we are using there. Oxygen pressure failure devices. Machine standard requires that an anesthesia machine should be designed so that whenever the oxygen supply pressure falls below, initially it was as per the pressures, that is 30 psi. When we were using Boyle's machine, the nitrous was cut off and only oxygen was given. But with the use of newer workstations, now it has come down that the common gas concentration of oxygen should not be allowed to fall below 19%. It was initially 30 psi for when we were using older machines, but for newer workstations, it has come down that it should not fall below 19% in the total gas mixture. And this is regulated by two types of the fail-safe valves, and these fail-safe valves are either a pressure sensor shut-off valve or a oxygen failure protection devices. These are two devices which are present in two different types of machines that we are very commonly seeing. One is in Dragon, another is in Omeda or the G machines that we have in market. So what happens in the oxygen pressure failure devices? So what happens is, as soon as the pressure goes down less than 30 psi, the nitrous is switched off and only oxygen is allowed to flow, and a pressure alarm is initiated. So this is something which is present in the Omeda machines. But oxygen ratio monitor, controller, and alarm, this is thing which is present in Dragon machines. Here what is happening is, we open the oxygen, it comes and falls on a diaphragm, because of which there is a leaf ring contact which is there, which opens up. Because of opening up of this leaf which is there, what is happening is the nitrous starts flowing in and the nitrous diaphragm starts increasing. And because of this, the common gas is going down. But as the concentration of oxygen goes down, so what happens is the machine still tries to maintain the total oxygen in the common gas outlet to be around 19%, about 19%. Till that time, as the nitrous chamber pressure goes down, simultaneously the pressures over this nitrous chamber also goes down, and that decreases the total amount of the nitrous oxide that is being given. As soon as it goes down below 19%, what happens is the nitrous is totally shut off, it again falls back and only the oxygen flows in. So I have talked about this thing. This is known as a pressure sensor shut-off valve in Datex Omeda machines. Usually get activated when the pressure is less than 26 psig. And in Dragon machine is known as oxygen failure protection devices or sensitive oxygen ratio controller. And here it is to maintain the common gas outlet concentration of 19%, or as soon as the oxygen pressure falls below 12%, 12 psig, sorry, 12 psig, the nitrous switched off and only the oxygen is delivered to the patient. So difference is, the pressure sensor shut-off valve is based on a threshold principle, cuts off nitrous when the oxygen pressure falls below 25%. Mechanism of action is oxygen pressurizes and holds open the shut-off valve that interrupts the supply of nitrous and other gases if oxygen is less than the threshold settings. While in oxygen failure protection devices, this is based on the proportionating principle. Gas load regulators, when the oxygen pressure decreases, there is a proportional decrease in the nitrous supply, and complete shut-off is seen only when the oxygen pressure is less than 12 psi. Mechanism of action is oxygen pressure regulator is a primary regulator which controls the secondary regulator, which is the nitrous oxide line. So this is also known as a master and slave mechanism. So we are supposed to know what is a master and slave mechanism. So this is what is master and slave mechanism, where the master is oxygen and the slave is nitrous oxide, and the oxygen is maintaining is responsible for uh, the concentration of nitrous oxide to be delivered in the patient. Limitations of a fail-safe device, we should know. These devices depend on pressure and not flow, so they may have limitation. It does not prevent administration of a hypoxic mixture. These devices prevents hypoxia from problems occurring upstream in the machinery circuit, that is disconnected oxygen hose, low oxygen pressure in the pipeline, and depletion of the oxygen cylinder. It does not prevent hypoxia from accidents such as pipeline crossovers or cylinder containing the wrong gas. An equipment problem that occurs downstream, like leaks, partial closure of oxygen flow control valve, are not prevented by these devices. So we should also know what are the limitations of these devices. Another important thing which is present is an oxygen whistle alarm, which is activated as soon as initially it used to get activated when the oxygen pressure falls below 30 to 35 psi. So that was the time when it used to get activated, and the basis initially it was based on this is known as initially it was known as a Ritchie's whistle and was it depended on the pressure. Now they are more LED devices which is present in the workstations. So there they maintain the oxygen concentration and gets activated. Oxygen flush, it supplies 100% oxygen at very high flow rate at the rate of 35 to 70 liters. And important thing is that over a period of time, they have become self-closing. Initially, they used to be there was a property that we can open it and then fix it at one portion. So that used to cause barotrauma. So now they are self-closing. They are prominently marked. And they are placed in the recess and collar, and there is no back pressure effects should be there. Auxiliary oxygen flow meters are present in few of the anesthesia machines and workstations, and they allow the use of low flow oxygen device independent of the breathing circuit. Flow meter is attached before the pneumatic power switch, and source of the oxygen is same as the oxygen flow control valve. Second stage pressure regulators, these are present in certain machines where there is a presence of a control valve and the proportionating system like Link 25. And the purpose is to eliminate the fluctuations in the pressure supply to the flow indicators caused by the fluctuation in the pipeline pressures. So this is basically present when where there is a presence of a Link 25 mechanism. Coming down to the low pressure system, as I have told, below the beyond the flow control valve to the rotameters to the back bars and coming down to the common gas outlet. Flow meter assembly. Flow meter assembly, we all know they are tubes which may be tapered, double tapered or single tapered, made up of glass, the Pyrex glass, and they are over in which there is a float which is present and which rotates. So before coming down to this, what are the differences between the flow control valves of oxygen and nitrous that we are supposed to know? They are fluted. The oxygen may be slightly prominent. The flutes are wide. Here the flutes are they are very fine and narrow. The nitrous is slightly inside. They are all jacketed so that the accidental movement does not occur. The knobs are placed in the recesses. This is something which has now come up into newer workstations where this may be electronically controlled, and there may be only one tube which will be telling us the total amount of the gas which is flowing from the different gases. Sub-meter assembly, as I have already told, consists of the flow tube, the indicator scale, and the indicator float. So these are three types of different types of flow that are normally seen nowadays. We have the traditional Then what has come is this is known as a hybrid flowmeter, and this is a totally electronic flowmeters which has now been incorporated in few of the anesthesia machines. So what is the principle on which this is based? The rate of flow through the flow meter depends on three things. One is the pressure drop across the constriction. That is, as the gas flows around the indicator, it encounters frictional resistance between the indicator and the tube wall. There is a loss of energy which is reflected as the pressure drop. And this pressure drop is given by the formula of weight of the float divided by the cross-sectional area. Second thing which it depends on is the size of the annular opening. Since this is a double or a single tapered tube, the size of the annular opening around the float will vary. And the third is that the physical characteristics of the gas, where the gas viscosity and the gas density has an important role. The gas viscosity usually is important when we are working on low flows, and gas density is important when we are working with high flows. So just to tell, while we were talking about the Borden's gauze was working on a constant orifice or a cross-sectional area, but the pressure was variable because it was depending on the amount of the content of the gas which was present in the cylinder. So that was working on the principles of constant orifice, variable pressures. But vis-a-vis, when we come down to flow meters, what is variable out here is the annular opening is variable, but the pressure drop remains constant. So the pressure is same. So it depends on variable orifice and constant pressure. So there are two different principles which occur for the gas flow between the Borden gauge and the flow meters. Arrangement we all know. Oxygen should always be downstream so as to prevent hypoxic mixture being delivered. Some hypoxia prevention safety devices which may be present is in the newer machines which has come up is a mandatory minimum oxygen flow, where a minimum of 50 to 250 ml of oxygen is always in flow. Minimum oxygen ratio, where it is always ensured that at least 21% of oxygen is delivered to the patient. And mechanical linkage that I talked about, which was the link 25 mechanism, where the oxygen and nitrous who are linked by a chain, and whenever we open by one nitrous oxide, the oxygen opens by two. So this is a link 25 mechanism which is important. Just like link 25 mechanism which was there in the Omeda machines, this oxygen ratio monitor, controller and alarm, this which is present in Draeger machine, acts both as a oxygen failure device as well as it also maintains the amount of concentration of oxygen into the gas mixture. So this one single device is acting in both the ways. Safety mechanisms in low pressure system is oxygen must enter the common manifold downstream of all gases. It prevents hypoxia in event of proximal gas leakage. An oxygen concentration monitor and alarm should be present to prevent the administration of hypoxic gas mixture in event of low pressure system leak, thus precisely regulating the oxygen concentration. Back bar, which is a part which supports the vaporizers, the rotameters and other accessories in a Boyle's machine. And the instruments which are present is a vaporizer. Vaporizers, the things which are very important for us to know is that at one time only one vaporizer should be done. A selective mechanism should be there, so that whenever there are number of vaporizers which is present on the back bar, we can only operate only one gas at that particular time, one inhalational agent at a particular time. Older machines used to have something which was known as a pressure relief valve, which was attached downstream to the vaporizer on the back bar and near the common gas outlet. It prevents the high pressure being transmitted to the machine. The high back pressure being transmitted to the machine, because if there is a check valve which is not functioning, so this back pressure gets transmitted through the back bar and may affect the concentration of inhalation agent through the vaporizers. So this was very important to prevent in the older machines when these check valves were not there. So this back pressure, this pressure relief valve, as the pressure in the low pressure system exceeds 35 kPa, what happens is it just opens up and releases all the excessive pressure. This was also known as a pop-off valve. Coming to anesthesia workstation, how do we define anesthesia workstation? As per the AISTM International, anesthesia workstation is a system of administering anesthetics to the patient, which consists of an anesthesia gas supplying devices, an anesthesia ventilator, monitoring devices, and the protection devices. So when we have all the combination of everything in one, then it is known as a anesthesia workstation. That is anesthesia gas supply devices, anesthesia ventilator, monitoring devices, both for the gases that is being delivered to the patient as well as for the patient's vital monitoring, and the protection devices in the machine. So the components is safe provision and selection of delivery of anesthetic gases with built-in breathing system, usually the closed system. Provision of backup supply of gases. It provides respiratory supports by a sophisticated automatic ventilator that can even be used as a ICU ventilator. Monitoring of Manish functions and settings. Monitoring of patient's physiological variables. Integration of display and auditory signaling of monitored modalities. Automated archived records keeping with online access. Gas scavenging system. Provision of supplemental oxygen using auxiliary flow meters, work surface and storing facilities, and provision of electric consumption items like the infusion pumps that we are using. So this is something which totally makes up an anesthesia workstation. Features unique is initially in the mid phase when we were transiting from the Boyle's anesthesia machine to a workstation, we were adding so many things to the anesthesia Boyle's basic to supply uh, carbon dioxide by carbon dioxide absorption by to give low flow. So we were giving a lot, we were attaching lot many things out there, and because of which there was always a chance of numerous external connections and disconnections. So with workstations, what has come up, everything is now sealed and there is a minimal external connections. In the initial period, there was, whenever we are using low flows, there was always a problem where the tidal volume what was being delivered was not accurate. Suppose we used to set up something and what used to go up may be either low or maybe higher. So this was a problem in older machines. But with the workstation, what has come up, there is an accurate tidal volume delivery, and this is controlled by electronic flow measurement or control. There is compliance compensation. There is a fresh gas decoupling. There is a return of sampled gas back to the anesthesia machine. Single step initiation of mechanical ventilation, leak measurements, electronic settings, and adjustment of flow sensor data. So because of all these things, what has now come up is we are delivering accurate tidal volume to the patient. Protection of against barotrauma is now provided with the workstations, and we can give different modes of ventilation in these patients. So these were certain things which have now been incorporated into the anesthesia workstation. Spirometry has come up, which is incorporated, and this gives up a real-time image of what is the mechanics, the respiratory mechanics that is happening in the patient at the time the patient is on anesthesia machine. So this tells us about the compliance, it tells us about the leak, any obstruction, the PEEP which has been generated, resistance and the trending. So everything now is visible to us. We can know what is the respiratory parameters that the patient is achieving while we are giving the ventilation. Vaporizers have become concentration calibrated. Interlock must be present so that two gas vapors cannot be used at one time. Liquid level indicated, so indicator is present so as to prevent overfilling. should use a keyed filling devices, and no discharge of liquid anesthetic occurs from the vaporizer even as a maximum fresh flow gas flow. So these are the new things which have been incorporated into the anesthesia workstations. The other thing which has come up is the capacity to use low flows. Initially, what we were using were high flows, and it was not possible to use flows to around 1 liter or less than 1 liter. Now we have, with the use of workstations, what is being incorporated now, we have come down even up to the metabolic flows. So any flow above 250 ml or 300 can be easily delivered by the anesthesia machines. And this was achieved by smaller circuit volumes, less circuit leakage, return of sample gas to the circuits, heated circuit manifold, fresh gas decoupling, and subatmospheric pressure prevention. So these were things which were incorporated into anesthesia workstation so as to help in giving low flows to the patient. Communication with AIMS, that is automatic information system. Now it made us possible that the automatically everything can be recorded, and that automatic records can be kept both in the anesthesia files as well as in the hospital information system. Flow meters that I was talking about, these are three types of flow meters which are basically which is present in the dragger machines. This is the conventional flow meter which is there. In between which came was these hybrid flow meters, and then this is a complete electronic flow meters where you can see everything. Here you are setting up the gas, the flows, the tidal volumes, pressures, and then you are also getting what is the concentration of the gases which is there, the inhalational agents, the MAC which has been achieved. These are the electronic flow meters which is present. This is telling you about whether the gas which has been given is excessive, minimal, or it needs to be changed. And this is the respiratory parameters that can be monitored in this patient. Ventilators in the modern anesthesia workstations have now changed from bellow ventilators to piston ventilators. And the advantage of piston ventilators is this uses an electric motor to compress the gas. So the bellow ventilators which were using the oxygen which was being supplied was used to work the bellows initially, have now converted from oxygen to an electronic motor to compress the gases. And the other advantage of this was single piston can deliver right from 20 ml to 3 liters. So initially, those who have seen older machines where we were using ventilators, for pediatric, we had to change the ventilator, and for an adult, we again had to change the ventilators. But here, right from 20 ml to 3 liters can be given by one single machine at one go. And the other advantage is it does not use a driving gas. That what I was talking about initially in bellows, it was the oxygen which was used as a driving gas. And it can be used even in conditions when the oxygen supply is on a lower side. Sorry. Other advantages of the piston ventilators are they are quiet. It does not generate PEEP. There is a greater precision in delivering of the tidal volume. Electricity is the driving force, so that the oxygen is not used for as a driving gas for the bellows to work. The disadvantage is it is very quiet. So we have lost, there's a loss of familiar visible mechanism of the bellows going up and down. The piston ventilator design cannot easily accumulate non-rebreathing systems, and there is always a potential for a negative end expiratory pressure to be developed in these type of piston ventilators. Other advantages of modern ventilators is they are flexible. They can accommodate many more modes of ventilator that I have already talked. We all the newer modes of ventilation, which were even what we are using in the ICUs, can now be incorporated into anesthesia machine. They are very accurate at delivering low tidal volume. They have advantage of something which is known as a fresh gas decoupling versus compensation. Fresh gas decompensation. What is this? The fresh gas is diverted to a decoupling valve to the manual anesthesia breathing circuit, and this is not added to the delivered tidal volume which the patient expires in the next cycle. So because of this fresh gas decoupling, what is happening is the accurate tidal volume, whatever we have said, it goes to the patient. This is the fresh gas decoupling is something which is present in the Drago machines. Vis-a-vis in ACES, Estiva and GE machine, the same principle is achieved by something which is known as the fresh gas compensation. And this has made this more suitable for use in the low flow, whenever we are using very low flows for uh, low flows anesthesia. Coming to another point, how do we check in an anesthesia machine? Coming to the workstation, the problem which is there is every manufacturer has its own way of checking. They have their standard own way of checking the anesthesia machine. So one system cannot be applied in all these newer workstation. You have to follow what is the way in which the manufacturer wants the machine to be checked. The only thing which is there is they check these 8 components. Yes, 6 to 8 components which is checked, which is common for all the anesthesia workstations. That is, they check the high pressure system, they check the low pressure system, they check the scavenging system, they check the breathing system, they check the manual and automatic ventilation system, and they check the monitors. Apart from this, the two things we have to again see is the presence of emergency ventilation equipments and the final position that the machine is ready. So emergency ventilation backup we have to see is we have to see that there is a presence of an ambu bag which is there. There is a presence of the oxygen tubings and all those things. High pressure system, check the oxygen supply, cylinder supply, open the oxygen cylinder and verify that it is at least half full. Close the cylinders and then check the central pipeline supplies. And again, they should be the pressure gauge must be reading at least 50 psi. This is something that is the first check. Step 4 to 7 is check for the low pressure system, check the initial status of the low pressure system, close flow control valves and turn the vaporizers on, check fill level and tighten the vaporizers filling cap, perform leak test of the low pressure system, verify that the machine master switch and flow control valves are off, attach a suction valve to a common fresh gas outlet, squeeze the valve repeatedly until it is collapsed, verify bulbs remains collapsed for at least 10 seconds, then open the vaporizer one by one and again repeat this and remove the suction valve and reconnect the fresh gas flow. Turn on the master switch and all the necessary electrical equipment should come. Test the flow meters, adjust flows of all gas through their full range, checking for smooth operations of floats and undamaged flow tubes. Attempt to create a hypoxic mixture and verify the correct changes in flows and or alarm. Anesthesia breathing systems, there is a standard breathing system, there is a standard way how to check. Calibrate the oxygen monitor to the air of 21%. Verify the low oxygen alarm is enabled and functioning. Install sensor and then verify that it should read at least 90 degrees whenever we are supplying 100% oxygen. Check initial status of the breathing system. Select the mode to a bag mode. Check for the breathing system. Check that the breathing circuit is complete, undamaged and unobstructed. Verify the carbon dioxide absorbent is adequate. Install breathing system accessory equipments like humidifier, PEEP valve to be used during the case. Perform leak test. You all know how to perform a leak test. You have to perform a leak test. It should be done in a positive leak test is what has been done in most of the newer workstations. Manual and automatic ventilation system should be checked just for ventilation system, unidirectional valve, and again these are the ways in which we have to check for the unidirectional valves whether they are functioning or not. The newer workstations does everything on its own. You just have to follow the prompt which comes. You have to follow that prompt, and then it does everything on its own. Final check. Status of the machine, the vaporizer off on, if APL valve is open, select the switch to bag, all flow meter should be zero, patient suction level should be adequate, and the breathing system should be ready to use. Last thing is the safety devices in the machine. Some common safety devices which are there in the machine is anti-static wheels and locking, backup battery, pressure relief valve, common gas outlet with retaining device to prevent disconnection, provide temporary electrical supply greater than 30 volts to monitor alarm in the event of power failure. Non-interchange, as I have already told, the essential devices which are there is a connection of pipeline gas index, that is the DIS, which is very important, and it prevents incorrect pipeline attachment, detects failure, depletion, or fluctuation. Pen index system for the cylinders with pressure gauges, and they prevent incorrect cylinder attachment, provide backup gases supply if there is a failure in the pipeline system. Low oxygen pressure alarm, detect oxygen supply failure at the common gas outlet. Other is minimum oxygen nitrous ratio controller device or hypoxic guard that we have already talked about, prevents delivery of oxygen which is less than, initially it was minimum of 30 psig, 25% of oxygen. In newer workstations it has come down to at 19% of oxygen. Oxygen failure safety devices, either a shutoff or the proportionating devices, prevent administration of nitrous oxide or other gases when the oxygen supply fails. Oxygen must enter the common gas manifold downstream of all other gases. This is to prevent a hypoxic mixture being delivered. Oxygen concentration alarms and monitors. This again ensures that the concentration of oxygen is whatever is the concentration of oxygen in the common gas mixture should at least be more than 19%. Automatically enable essential alarms and monitors. Example is oxygen concentration, prevents use of machine without essential monitors. Vapor interlock devices prevent simultaneous administration of more than one anesthetic volatile agent. Capnography and anesthetic gas measurements. It guides ventilation, prevents anesthetic overdose, helps reduce awareness. An oxygen flush mechanism that does not pass through vaporizers. So this rapidly refills or flush the rebreathing valves and prevent a high concentration of the inhalation agent being delivered to the patient.